This is Wonderbit Trading, and we carry on with our weekly Bitcoin and Ethereum price analysis. As usual, in front of you can see 4 different charts, and they all relate to Bitcoin. The one on the top left is the BTC futures, the one on the top right is the BTC dominance, and the 2 at the bottoms are coming from different exchanges on the spot markets. The one on the left is Bitstamp with the longest history, and the one on the right is Binance. So, if you want to automate your trading strategies in cryptocurrency market, join our free platform Wonderbit Trading. Our trading terminal will help you to create a complete strategy with predetermined entry and exit points. Or you can create a trading board which will use your TradingView alerts as signals for trading execution. Or just copy trade the best traders in the platform. Join Wonderbit Trading for smart crypto trading and investment on autopilot. As usual, we'll start with the weekly time frame, and as you can see, we'll just switch off all our predictions from the previous weeks and we'll look into the candlestick patterns. So the previous week closed in red, both in the futures markets and in the spot markets. And in the spot market, you can clearly see that we broke slightly below the 50 MA, which is not a good sign from the bulls and for the potential growth. Currently, the price is trading slightly above the 50 MA during this week. However, at the same time, we can see that the other lower high was formed, both on the spot markets and on the futures markets as well. So let's switch all our predictions from the previous weeks and go to the daily charts, and we'll look into each chart in more details. So let's start from the futures markets. So over here we can see that if we go to the 4-hour chart, we can see the gap which was formed, and the price is currently trying to fulfill this gap. However, the actual volume and the angle at which the price is actually increasing is very weak in terms of the bull's power. Therefore, we might see a week in maybe next day or so, which gonna fulfill the gap. However, looking from the daily perspective, this will be just hitting the overall downward channel in which the price went back into. And even though the 200 MA is acting as a support right now, we're at a very crucial level, and at the same time we don't see any increase in volume in the past 3 days. So what we expect in the nearest future from the futures market is that the price is gonna carry on with the downward movement as we predicted in the previous weeks. The volume is slightly decreasing. We don't see any divergence on the RSI as yet. So there is a potential for the price to carry on its decrease towards the 200 MA on the 4-hour time frame, and at that point this will be acting as a support. At the same time, we do have a level of around 8,560, which is acting as a support, so this will be the first support that has to be broken in order to reach the 200 MA. Overall conclusion is that we can break this level, or the candlestick will finish its body at this level, while the wick can go towards the 200 MA as a support. Let's go to the market dominance right now. So once again, starting from the daily overview, what we can see here that from the 8th of May, we can see that the dominance was slightly decreasing as we were discussing this. So we do have the Fibonacci retracement to see where this retracement will actually go. We're currently at the level of 50% based on the Fibonacci retracement. We are currently in between the 200 MA acting as a resistance and 50 MA acting as a support. So this can be the point at which the BTC will start increase dominance-wise, or we can carry on with the downward movement a little bit further towards the area of the golden pocket between the 61 and 65% of Fibonacci retracement. Looking at the 4-hour chart, what we can see here is that we broke below the 200 MA. We are retesting this as a resistance right now. We might expect a further retracement towards the area of 61% based on Fibonacci retracement. We can also expect that after that we might form a divergence on the RSI, which will signal that the BTC dominance is starting to reverse. Let me now look at the Bitstamp exchange with the longest history. So we're using this exchange to determine the long-term trend for the Bitcoin and where it will go. Just switching off all our predictions from the previous weeks, what we can see here is that the previous week eliminated all the growth that we had the week starting on the 11th of May. We closed slightly below the 50 MA, as you can see here, which is not a very good sign. On the other hand, the volume for the past week was not that great as well, so we don't see any huge dominance in terms of the bears. However, if we switch back all our predictions from the previous weeks and go into the daily time frame, this is exactly what we predicted. In terms of staying in this horizontal channel, we bounce back from the bottom of that channel once again. We can see that the volume is decreasing as we entered this channel on the 10th of May, so we can see the constant decrease in volume, decrease in volatility, which means that towards the end, the breakout out of this channel would be huge. So let's try and think about in which direction the BTC price will go. So on the bull side, we can see that there is a golden cross here on the daily time frame, which is a positive sign. However, in the past, we can see exactly the same. The bull sign was formed, and straight after it, we saw the huge decrease in terms of the price. So maybe this is something to expect in this particular scenario as well. If we go into the more local time frames, what we can see here is that currently we are right at the level of 200 MA acting as a support, and there is some power in terms of the bearish power of the price with nice and long and solid candlesticks, one of which broke the 200 MA. Currently, it seems like we're actually retesting the level of 50 MA as a resistance, and we might see the further fall in terms of the price. At the same time, in the 4-hour chart, we don't see any divergence yet. So the potential scenarios over here is that we are either forming the second bottom at the same level of this horizontal channel and then going and retesting the upper side of that channel, or we can actually break below it, then retest the bottom of the channel and then carry on with a further downward movement. If we take into consideration daily time frame, this will be exactly the time to check the 200 MA as a support once again. So we did it once over here, we almost checked it as a support, and this will be the second time to actually do it. Okay, let me now look into the Binance exchange and 4-hour time frame. We'll start from here. The price is currently at the level of 38% based on the Fibonacci retracement from the overall upper movement, which is a nice retracement target if we are planning to carry on with the growth. However, as mentioned earlier, I don't see any divergence in terms of the downward movement of the price and the RSI indicator, unlike what we saw during the 15th of May and 18th of May. So this signaling that there is still power to move Bitcoin further down. At the same time, if we go to the 1-hour time frame, we're already below the both 200 MA and 50 MA. We're currently trying to break above it, and we can see some volume is actually forming over here. However, at the same time, the previous candle was a spinning top, which means that we might see the further decrease in the price, at least towards the area of 8,700. At which we might see some support shown by the bulls. However, there is still a potential to go towards the area of 8,400 and even 8,000, as it will be the golden pocket of the overall impulse wave to the upper side that we experienced in the past. So the overall conclusion is that we are currently in a huge horizontal channel at the bottom of that channel in particular, and during this week we'll see whether we can break below this channel and then retest this as an area of resistance for the further downward movement, or we will see the retracement towards the upper side of the channel. Let us now look into the Ethereum price. As usual, in front of you, you can see the Ethereum USDT pair or daily time frame over here and all our previous predictions from the previous weeks. Once again, we're talking about the area of 212 and 215, where we can see the nice resistance forming. And once again, this is exactly what happened. So on the 20th of May, we saw the nice breakout out of that area with a continuation of the downward movement. Overall, on the 4-hour time frame, we can say that we are also in the horizontal channel. The price is bouncing and touching several times already. We tested the 200 MA, which is a sign of the weakness for the 200 MA. You can also even see the triangle pattern which is forming over here. So this can be drawn like this on the chart. So we can see that this pattern is currently forming and we are going towards the downside of that triangle if we take in wicks into the consideration. If not, this is the more narrow triangle that we can see without the wicks inside of it. If we break below this, we should expect the slight retest and then the further downward movement towards the bottom of that horizontal channel. At the same time, if we measure the height and then just copy it out of the breakout, this is roughly exactly where we would be towards the end of that price movement. So if we'll break below, this is exactly where we'll end up, in the region of 8,085. If we go to 1-hour time frame, what we can see here as well, the price is already below the 200 MA and 50 MA. We rechecked it several times. It's acting as a resistance for us. We can see nice solid candlesticks for the downward movement, so starting from the 24th of May, and then a very weak retracement and a very weak representation of bulls actually over here. So the overall conclusion for the Ethereum from our perspective would be that we should see the further retracement at least towards the area of the bottom of the channel, which is $184. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay tuned with our weekly Bitcoin and Ethereum price analysis, and best of luck with your trading.